Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I am coming back at you with another Wargaming and miniature video. In this video, we're going to continue on with my World War II project updates. And if you haven't been to any of my updates, what they are is they're basically just short videos, or sometimes this one might be long, but videos that let you know how far along I am in completion of my project. This project in particular is my 15mm World War II Lafayette Bridge scenario for battle group project. Okay, now in this project what I'm doing is I'm painting the miniatures, building the terrain tiles, the boards, the buildings, the trees, the hedges, all that. Getting the parts ready for the game, dice, rulers, stuff like that. So, and basically like scenario handouts and everything needed to bring a package deal to a convention, which in this case will be NashCon, setting it up, running it for a bunch of players, and having a good time. Okay, so if you've been following along, you notice that I built some tiles for, and you might be able to see a tile hiding right over here. But there, I built a bunch of 2x2 tiles for the Lafayette Bridge, and I did a 4x6. And then I found out, and then I realized that I really needed to do an 8-foot table, so I'm redoing the tiles. Okay, and I'm redoing it as a 5x8. So it's going to be 5 foot wide, not 4, and it's going to be 8 foot long, not 6. So I considered trying to use some of those tiles in addition to new tiles, maybe just adding to it, but the scale wasn't right and it would have been wonky. Plus, a couple of my tiles, because I glued them together with PVA or polyvinyl acrylic, it caused the tiles to warp. And when they warped, it caused the tiles to sit on the table and wobble. And so I've decided to recreate the tiles completely, and I'm using a spray adhesive to affix the pink underlayment to the blue top layer. Now the pink is basically going to be the low ground, and then the blue is going to be the high ground. Okay, I learned a few lessons making those first tiles that I'm going to show off maybe here today. I haven't completed the tiles. I'm still working on those tiles, and part of the struggle that I'm having with the new tiles is I went overboard. Basically, instead of just getting one color of grass and just covering the entire tile board with that one color of grass, I decided to break down historically the different fields that are in this battle and make them unique colors, or at least alternate and make some. What I'm trying to do is not make any two fields side by side the same color, except for these three down here. They're all going to be green, and a lot of these will be gold, but they'll be separated by hedges and stuff. Okay, so I decided to go ahead and get a bunch of grass mats. Okay, now this is the first mat that I had. This is the mat. This is the grass mat that I used in the original tiles, and I still had quite a bit of this left over, as you can see. A few feet of this rolled. that I'm going to be able to definitely use on these new tiles. But because I liked this tile so much, I went ahead and I thought that's not going to be enough to cover the entire map, obviously. So I decided to get another one. And I could not find this color again for some reason. I looked around, it was sold out everywhere. This one's called Meadow. But this one is called Green, right? And you can see it's a darker green. And it's got a good texture, good look to it. I like both of these, to be honest. But I wanted more than just these two. I wanted some gold or yellow or, you know, like wheat fields down in the low ground. So I ordered, this is called Golden Straw. Yeah, that's Golden Straw. And it's made by JTT, which I have come to believe that JTT and Bachmann use the same manufacturing techniques, because it's the same paper, the same flock, the same texture. Okay, but then I also ordered something called Summer Grass, and this is Ready Grass. It's a vinyl mat. This also is a vinyl mat, and you can see it's actually got a plastic backing, but it lays flat when I lay it out. And you can see right here, it lays perfectly flat. Where these paper ones, they have wrinkles. You can see that they have various wrinkles in them, which that's not a problem anyway, because terrain is never perfect anyway. You've already heard me say that probably 100 times. Plus, when I glue it down, I use a roller and roll it down. Actually, I use a paint bottle as a roller. I basically just do this and I roll out all the bubbles. Okay, but I ordered this Summer Grass from Woodland Scenics because the picture showed it a slightly different color than the Golden Straw. But when I lay them side by side, this one is, first of all, it's darker, but it has more, I don't know, like more black pieces in it. If that's, I don't know. It's just very dark, and this is going to be a foam. These are both foam, but this definitely has a I don't know what the word it lays flat. This one just lays flat, and this is a vinyl one as well, and I assume this is going to lay flat as well. But I don't know if I want to use this and this. We're going to have to figure out. I might be able to just save this for other projects. Or I might be able to save this one. I'm going to try to figure out which one I'm going to use. I'm not going to use both. Definitely not going to use both. Okay. But I am going to use these two and one of these two. And as you can see, I've already started using this one, which is also Ready Grass, and it's called Forest Grass. It's more of an OD color, as you can see. I really like it. I like it a lot. I'll show it on some of the tiles. Some of the tiles I've already put some grass on, but I'm far from being finished. And finally, this one is a static grass mat, and it has a lot of these various reds and yellows in there. There might even be blue. I thought I saw a blue somewhere, but it's green static grass with some red and yellow thrown in there. I don't know if you can see that with the way the lighting is and the camera focus. But and it's also on a paper, and it's not extremely large. It's actually one of the smaller ones, but I don't know, I just love the static grass on the map. As an alternative, I wouldn't want to cover my entire map with this because okay, let me back up. I would want to cover the entire map with this, or because I'm breaking it down into smaller chunks, I decided to use this very sparingly. It's one of those type of grasses that the entire battlefield needs to be, but it's got flowers in it, so I don't really want that to be everywhere. And then finally, oh yeah, and that one here is Faller, and it's called Flowering Meadow. Okay, so those are all the tiles, all the grass that I've got. And as you can see, I've already started. Like, this is one of my tiles, and as you can see, it's not finished yet. But how I've put the flowering meadow down and the forest, right? I've got various patches. Now, the gap between, I decided to paint brown on the tile so that when I lay the grass down and I lay another grass down beside it, if there's any gaps, there's going to be the brown underneath. It's not final because I think I'm going to go through all these gaps and fill them maybe with some texture putty or just paint. I do plan to fill the gaps. But that brown was a good start to conceal in case I missed something. But in the end, these gaps won't even show because I'm going to have my hedges sitting right on top of those gaps anyway. And so they're going to be completely covered. But I did that for two reasons. It's going to make each field is going to be unique in its color, or it's going to be distinctive where the fields are. Plus, it's going to give me, as the game master, guidance. So when I'm setting this up, I know exactly where the hedges are going to need to go because there will be a gap in the fields. Now, some of these fields might have a short hedge or a gap in the hedges, and there needs to be a transition between the fields, and in that case I will put some dirt putty in there to make it look like it's frequently driven on or something like that. Now there's a few other fields that I thought I would put some putty out in the middle to represent dead areas or whatever, but I don't know, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to do the transitions and maybe disguise the gaps. Now, the big gap here is actually going to be a road. There's actually a dirt road that goes this way. Okay, so this is one of the tiles. Oh, yeah, let's take a look back here. Okay, so there's pink board underneath, or pink foam underneath the blue foam. I made the pink slightly smaller, like maybe a quarter of an inch smaller than the blue board. So the blue board will match up with each other and the pink board will not get in the way. There's another one where that same grass meadow, and then above it is the forest, which it's just forest color. It's not actually going to be a forest. And then, of course, there's a little gap. This end is no big deal because that's where I'm going to paste the hill, and I'll probably lay some flock on that. Like there's another one, a couple of forests. I don't know, I just like that deep forest look. Okay, but I want you to see this. This is not black paint. That's actually the asphalt texture. It is black. There's like a very subtle texture to it to make it look like asphalt. What I think I'm going to do is go over that with maybe a light gray dry brush to give it a little bit more texture. You can see that I've used a very light color, what I call goose feather, I believe is what it's called, in the ditches, and then I'm gonna either use a gray, but I am gonna put some flock in there as well, even with the I might even use light earth. I'm not sure. I might just leave it goose feather. I'm still trying to work that out in my mind. But this is not finished, obviously. Okay, so you don't need to see all the tiles. But I am going to show you this tile. This tile is one of the tiles with the river running through it. And I still haven't, I got to redo the river, right? So the river's not done. I'm going to put fields down here just like I'm doing up on the surface. I'm going to put hedges around them just like I would on the surface. The farm complex is going in there. And this is going to be, well, this is actually going to be forest as well. The one above that's not. But the point I was making was the bridge. The old bridge was this building authority bridge, which is an awesome resin bridge. It's a great looking bridge. But the issue that I was having with this bridge, and it's been eating at me, and so since I decided I was going to make new tiles anyway, I said, what the hell, I'm just going to make my own bridge, because the problem with this bridge is it's got a center column, which I don't want. I want it to be perfectly flat, and it's got a hump, right? And I mean, I could take the asphalt and paint it on this, but I don't want to mess with this bridge because it's a beautiful bridge. So I built my own bridge, and this has got the asphalt texture on it. I made these brick walls out of styrofoam. I cut into them to make the bricks. I went through and I painted it. I still need to seal it. I'm probably going to use some Mod Podge on this to seal it up. The foam, because the foam still feels a little what's the word I'm looking for, fragile, right? So but I cut out these little slots. Oh, there's no arc, there's no under support or ramp or anything like that. It's just perfectly straight across, which is what I wanted. I considered getting some rail bridges and stuff like that, but I figured I could just make it, and it will fit right down in these little slots here. And then I've got my bridge, right? There's nothing blocking down here, and it is flat. Okay. All right. So I don't know if you know, but I'm going ahead and I've finished everything I need for the battle. We got our M4 right here. This is actually a Battlefront miniature. It actually is the scale or the size of this Zvezda. It's about the same hull-wise, but again, this is a 76 and I needed a 75. I think I'm going to do a review of these tanks coming up real soon. One thing I really like about these tanks, the turret, right, just comes right off, and they provide you with two turrets. They provide you with the 76, They provide you with 105s. They provide you with 75 turrets and guns of various different machine gun configurations. I think it's really cool that you can just swap the turrets out and make different tanks. That's really cool. Okay, so these guys right down the center here is my, first of all, this is all 82nd. This is the 82nd, I think 507th Parachute Infantry. And then this is the 325th Glider. We got 3 platoons. We got a platoon here, right, of paratroopers with their platoon command element. And then over here we've got, okay, let's stay with these guys. Included with this platoon would be these 2 machine guns, for this being the platoon element. Now you also have a bazooka. You have a 60 millimeter mortar. We have now we're starting to get into the command element. Both of these are considered senior commanders. So probably a company commander and a major, because or 2 company commanders. I can't remember exactly the story in the battlefield, but in the game, those are considered senior commanders, and they give you additional command for your for the game. There is a weapons platoon which has 2 more machine guns and 2 more mortars. And then that would be my, and then over here we have what's called a staff squad. Basically, they accompany the senior commander. So that's pretty cool. And then over here we've got the 2 glider platoons. Each of these platoons has a 10-man squad. So you have 2 4s and then the NCO, and then same thing here, and then same thing. All these are exactly the same. One thing about the gliders is, or at least in this scenario, they break off half of their squad right here. And these are called BAR teams. So one of the guys in each of these squads is carrying a BAR, and then accompanying the BAR is the corporal, a lower ranking NCO. So they have one guy with a submachine gun, and these guys have one guy with a submachine gun, but they also have the BAR. That's pretty interesting, and these are all broken down the same way. The command element for these platoons is a 4-man command element with the platoon leader in there. So these squads seem to be a lot larger than these squads. It just the way it is. And then there's 2 medics right here. I got 2 medics. And I got my FO and my FSU, an FO and an FSU. The FSU is like a additional radio uplink. Basically, they provide rerolls or something like that for the FO. Okay, so that's the American force. Now, what's kind of interesting, I just want to kind of share this with you guys as part of my update. I ordered these guys, these the paratroopers, as well as a bunch of other models, right? And it just took so much time for me to get them. And then when they did ship me these, they only shipped me half my order. So the other half is going to be back ordered till the end of time. So instead of waiting, which I probably should have done, but I'm impatient, I decided to order the Plastic Soldier Company infantry company, because I figured that would have everything I needed to complete the elements, right? Well, when I got it in, the Plastic Soldier Company came in pretty quick because it actually shipped from Brookhurst. But when I got it in, I didn't realize this, but this Plastic Soldier Company does not include any machine guns or mortars. None. So I was like, but luckily I didn't need any. I only needed BARs, and it came with a selection of BARs. I guess that's why they have a second box of heavy weapons, which has the machine guns and the mortars in it. But I didn't order that box. I do have, this is Battlefront miniatures, and they did come with machine guns and mortars. So I was able to flesh out the weapons company with their machine guns and the mortars. Now, they only come with 2 mortars in this pack, so what I had to do was break out my Old Glory paratrooper command and support weapons package to get this mortar, which is no problem. Now, in that package, or in another package, there was American infantry. These 2 medics here are actually Old Glory. So these 2 medics are actually metal medics, and then the rest of these are all plastic. There's a couple of other notes that I wanted to make in this. Okay, so when I compared the models between the Old Glory, the Plastic Soldier, and the Battlefront miniatures, there is a big difference in size. The Old Glory models luckily come on a very thick base, because the man is actually closer to 12 or 13 millimeters if you measure from the bottom of the foot to the brim of his helmet, or his eye level. So that's 12 or 13, 12.5 you could even say. The Plastic Soldier Company guys are true 15s. They are 15 millimeter, and they are perfectly scaled at 15 millimeter. They also look really good. Their body proportions, their weapon proportions, all seem to be very good. And then when it came to the Battlefront miniatures, they're closer to 18 millimeters. These are the plastic Battlefront, not the old metal, and they are thick. It's like if I was to compare one of these guys to one of these guys, you might be able to tell the difference, that he's half again as thick. So he just has a bulkier outfit. I actually like that. I like the fact that they're closer to 18 millimeters. I like the fact that they're thicker and bulkier. Because of that, I still have my Americans on order from Battlefront, and when they come in, I'm going to paint them up and replace these guys. Maybe, if I got time. Because luckily I've got these guys done. They're ready to go. I don't need to paint any more models for this project. But they just feel like they're a little smaller. Yeah, I don't know. These guys seem like they're a little bit more durable. They're very similar to the Warlord resin models. They're plastic, but they come across to me as being that plastic resin mix, if you know what I'm talking about. All right, and then these are the Germans from here over, right? The dark gray guys. you can see that they're outnumbered, right? Major, but they're on the defense. Okay, these guys actually have 5-man bases, so that's interesting, but that's fine. They have, these are 3 platoons. This is 3 platoons, right? 1, 2, 3. But it has a weapons platoon coming in, and then it's got a staff squad. So those don't really count, really. There's just extra support weapons. But you're looking at a machine gun in every one of these squads. And the command element is, you know, the platoon leader with his escort squad. So there's quite a bit. Plus they have 2 mortars. So, yeah. And then they've got a sniper. And, of course, their FO. So they've got an FO. They have an FO. I noticed that the paratrooper's FO is what's called a spotter plus. So he actually rolls or gets a minus or rolls 2 dice. Or I don't remember, but basically his deviation distance is smaller when he's calling in his artillery. This is a sniper. It's supposed to be in a blind, in a hide, so he's going to be concealed. And then the mortars are in mortar pits. I still have to make those, actually. Now, I thought I was going to make my mortars on these round bases. That might be a change. I might, because when I put these mortars together, I went ahead and put them on their medium Flames of War bases. I guess it could go either way. But these are plastic soldier, and so they are these are all plastic soldier, so they're a little bit. These guys are actually, these plastic soldier are more proportionate with the paratroopers. The American guy, the American infantry, just seems to be very skinny and small. They don't even compare to the German plastic soldier, if that makes sense. But because they're glider troops and these guys are paratrooper troops, it's kind of cool because it gives them, you can tell that they're not the same, right? But they are painted differently as well. I went ahead and painted on their shoulders little red, on all of them, all these guys, little red squares for their 82nd All-American patch. You know, on the back of their helmets, I got a horizontal stripe on the NCOs. I got a vertical stripe on the officers. It'll just help you figure out who's what. I considered putting, because a lot of these Battlefront bases have kind of a slope on the back. I thought about writing something on the back of these models, but then again I said, no, I probably should just put it on the bottom, maybe a sticker or something. I don't know, to let the players know what troops they are. All right, so I think we got a full update. Let's recap here. We got, oh, yeah, no, I want to show you a couple more things. As you know, I use a lot of white casualty caps, or have in the past, but now I've got some red casualty caps and some green casualty caps. I was wondering if the red ones would look better for casualties because it would be bold. It'll definitely stand out. I'm going to open one of these. Wargames accessories. I've been using them since the 80s. I don't know when they were established, but I got some metal bases from them. Okay, so these will obviously go in a bucket. But when someone dies, you just take a casualty cap and say, boop, he's dead. Boop, dead. And that's the way we used to do it with my Napoleon's Battles game, because these guys would just fit on top of the model and they would just be considered dead. You know, red is kind of bold. Red is definitely bold. And this green is not a subdued green. It's a very bright green. You can see it yourself. but it's not as bad. Okay, this I can already tell the green is definitely a little bit less obnoxious. Now, some people would put dice behind the guys, or whatever. Yeah, because this game is a man-to-man game. You do not have to mount them in multiple bases like this. You can mount them individually, like this sniper or these medics. Everything is supposed to be mounted like that, but I find that would just be more cumbersome to move those models around like that. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? Alright guys, well, now I'm just going to pretty much jump onto the tiles and just work on grassing up the tiles. Once all the tiles are grassed and I get ready to start texturing and stuff like that, then I'll come back to another update. Alright, thank you for coming out and checking out my 15mm World War II project updates, and I'll catch you in the next one.